Welcome to another Railroads Online video. Today I'm here to tell you guys about the recent launch of the anniversary update on the main branch. It used to be in testing for about 2 weeks and yeah, they finally put it onto the main branch. However, I would say that this whole thing it's a bit dodgy in a few ways. First up, this is not the same version that we had on the testing branch. They did another update with this entire thing, but it was never in this form on the testing branch. So they just made their changes, put it right onto the main one, and let's hope that the changes are actually positive. Because if they aren't, we are gonna have to deal with them for a while now. And even on the testing branch, the anniversary update itself brought in the new UI, a few new nice features, quality of life and that kind of stuff, all good. But also some critical problems with physics and all of that, and those still haven't been resolved. They had another patch after about a week where they said they fixed things, and a lot of things that I tested definitely weren't fixed, so yeah, it's not amazing. And to show you guys the main problem here, I have my little testing setup and we are going to see exactly what's happening here. And to be clear, this is going to be a major problem if you do any shunting, and especially kicking cars onto tracks and all of that. We have another car behind me right here. The brakes aren't even pulled or anything. And I'm going to just let the train roll right into this. Gonna be cutting the regulator before we actually hit it. And you see my train just got completely stopped and bounced off into the other direction. If I had more cars, or if the cars were loaded and heavy cargo and all of that involved, I would have likely be re-railing a lot of them because they would have jumped straight off the track at this point. The car behind me is still acting as a solid object, and the only real reliable way of dealing with this is by pushing into those cars while also having your engine active. So as long as the engine is connected to the cars and I still keep it under some sort of load, this is gonna work out pretty well. As you see, the car just immediately reacted and is now rolling along. If I stop this train, you can also see that this is now gonna keep on rolling because once again the brakes weren't even pulled to begin with. So yeah, this is gonna be a massive nightmare and headache and all of that, so have fun dealing with it. It's now on the main branch and I'm honestly quite disappointed that it came to this. But yeah, sadly this is kind of a known pattern with the game. You very often end up with something where they just end up putting in some weird physics problems and not taking care of them, and it's just gonna be in the game for the foreseeable future. Maybe they get rid of it before 1.0, I'm not too certain about that. But yeah, that's one of the things that we now have to take care of. Another thing that at least got improved with the current version is the crossovers, and that's the entire reason why I have my setup over here, because on the testing updates, the derailments have gotten very bad. Almost constantly, like reliably derailing, just going over these crossovers. Also the same in my playthrough world and all of that. There are going to be a few more videos where we are really going to suffer through this entire thing. However, it seems like on the main branch right now, with the current version, while I wouldn't say that things are completely fixed, they are at least random again and not just reliably terrible. So that is an improvement after all. But you are going to see once we are going over these crossovers, the cars and the engine, they are going to twitch. The entire camera is going to shake at different points, and that is an indication that stuff isn't really working perfectly well. You can see that they are doing a little dance over here, and it used to be much worse on the testing version. So yeah, I don't think we are going to necessarily get a derailment over these crossings, but Yeah, it still seems a bit dodgy at points. Also, for some reasons, you can hopefully see this here. Let's see, can I get in a bit closer? The couplers are now actually merging into each other. So instead of stretching out all the time, they are now sometimes just overlapping, which of course is very unrealistic. So yeah, that's a whole new problem, and they apparently didn't really take care of it. So let's just see if something happens over here now. I mean, you can see that the cars aren't always happy about this. But it still seems to be fine for the most part. This definitely used to be much worse, so... Well, I wouldn't call it fixed until maybe further testing. It's definitely improved. And I think at this point we can move on to the next thing. I don't want to make this video just 30 laps around here in expectation that something will derail. The thing I saw, however, and this is quite concerning, I'm gonna see if I can replicate it here. There used to be a problem where if you had a car somewhere just derailed or something, or even just standing on the track, and you would delete it, the game would still think the car is there and anything else could collide with it or where it was before. So if I go to locomotives, get rid of this and try to run my engine, I may run into the hitbox of the car that I just removed there. Happened to me earlier today on the same update, so this is definitely a problem. Don't know if I can replicate it here, but yeah, it's definitely something that can happen. I don't know where exactly I had this thing removed. If it gets out of corner, then I guess it's not gonna be a problem here, but yeah, it definitely happened earlier. Might need a full derailment in order to have that bug occur, but yeah. I swear it was a problem, it's just something that I cannot reliably replicate. Anyways, let's move on to the next big topic actually, not a problem, but actually something that they really improved upon, and that is payouts. So you get paid for every single item that you deliver to different places. And the payouts used to be quite shaky. They did an unannounced change a while ago, which really made things worse in a lot of cases. And today we've seen another actually announced update. I got the full list of the current values over here. And it's a huge improvement. And to be clear, the numbers are as follows. Left of the slash is the single item payout according to the in-game wiki. I didn't check if all of those values align with what you're actually getting. I'm just assuming that's going to be the case because that's how it should work. On the right of the slash, you have the value for a single loaded car. And I usually go with the old cars if possible, because those are values that I still can relate to and give you guys a good comparison on. So yeah, I went through the trouble of writing all of this out, and I think the game is now doing a few critical things correctly. First up, the logs, $12 per item. And that's a small increase over the usual $10, so 72 per car, pretty good. Cordwood, $10, 80 per bulkhead car, that's what it always used to be, so still paying out pretty well. Beams and lumber, these are important. They used to be 72 per car, and that's for both of them. And then they changed it so that they basically had the same per item value, and that meant that beams were paying half as much per car as the lumber, because you can load twice as much lumber on a full-size stay car as you can do with beams. And now they thankfully reversed it, so it's now 96 for both for a full-size stay car, and I think that is what it really should be. On those I can actually give you guys a direct comparison, because I still have the old values written out over here. So let me quickly fly over and let's talk about what it used to be. And here we have them. I'm gonna keep them on the right side of the screen so you can actually see them. So that used to be for lumber with the shadow patch. $20 per item, 120 in total. So that's now a bit less than before. Oh no. What is it? It's no, wait, it's more for the beams and a bit less for the lumber, yeah. So they kind of went for like a middle ground there. And for the beams, it used to be $20 per item and 60 per car, so half as much per car. But yeah, I'm glad that they kind of went more with the middle of the road solution and actually put them back onto the same per car value instead of per item. So I think that's much better than what we had with unannounced update. Iron ore is the one thing that I don't really understand, because initially, like when I started playing, it used to be $20 per ton. So that's for the old hoppers, which, yeah, one of these things right here. That used to be $200 per hopper. The hoppers are of course quite expensive, but if you get a few, you can easily, if you get like 4 or 5 of them, you make one delivery, you buy another, and then your profits are just going to increase and increase. So these always used to be very profitable anyways, but yeah, for some reason they decided to put it up to $30. So that's 300 per car. Again, still a bit more money, I wouldn't complain about it, but it was already good at 20. 30 was maybe a bit much, but still alright. I have no idea who thought they would need to go up to 50. That's way too much in my opinion. I don't understand that change. I don't see the necessity for it. I had multiple playthroughs where I built myself up, and even at the lowest price, 20 per ton, way more than enough. Or maybe just enough, but definitely good as it was. Anyways, next one, and this is a change that I've been begging for the devs to do, and I'm glad that they went through with it. They finally increased the payout for raw iron. So this used to be 25 per item before, so $75 per car, because you can only load 3 items onto one single stake car. So it's a very low capacity per car item, and that's very important to keep in mind here. And for some reason, even though this hasn't been that much to begin with the weird unannounced changes, they nerfed it into the ground. $10 per item, 30 per car. Made absolutely no sense. Half as much as with just a starting load full of logs and all of that. And now they finally increased this. The stuff is now worth 60 per item, 180 per car. This is good. Absolutely love it. With their unannounced change, we already have gotten an increase to payout for rails, which is once again at the same industry as the beams, not the beams, the raw iron, which kind of looks like metal beams, whatever. But yeah, it was already pretty good before, $250 per car. Now it's 350. They kept it for this change, and I'm fine with it. It's on the higher side for that point in the game, but certainly not unwelcome. The main thing about this is, of course, it's a high volume item. 10 per car are quite a bit, so you can easily make a massive delivery, and also therefore a huge amount of money at once. Next up, the coal. 30 per ton, 300 per car. Nothing really to say about it. It's a pretty worthwhile endeavor. Compared to the raw iron, definitely, or the the iron ore, I mean, it definitely doesn't look that great anymore. And yeah, once again, I think the problem is more with the iron ore, but hey, I had the topic already. Next up, the pipes, 50 per item, 450 per logging car. Pretty good, I would say. Definitely worthwhile. Tools, 30 per item, 960 per car, with box cars being able to hold 32 of them. Again, also paying out pretty well. And we've now have a few more industries that actually need them, so that's pretty good. Crude oil with the tankers, 35 per item, 420 per car, because you can load 12 ton in the large ones. Oil barrels, 90 per barrel and 4,320 per car. Bulkhead cars can hold up to 48, I think I remember, and yeah, that's quite a bit. But that used to be the end game basically, so yeah, should be worthwhile. I think that's still the same price as before, so really nothing to talk about there. It seems like a huge amount once you get onto the per car basis, but loading up a single car takes a while. Now to the other huge winner alongside the raw iron. Water, seeds, straw bales, and grain to a slightly less amount. But yeah, all of these got buffed, and that was definitely necessary because while you could theoretically start your entire playthrough by going to the wheat farm and related industries, they had massive problems. Didn't pay enough, didn't give you enough XP, and while I cannot speak to the experience difference, they reworked some stuff there as well. At least the money now seems to be on point. So I'm really happy about it. I hope they also increased the XP gain accordingly, because that was its own problem. But before this update, basically the only thing that would give you worthwhile money used to be the cattle, and you needed a lot of experience to be able to buy a cattle car. And everything beforehand was really not worthwhile, so now that's far better, and I'm really happy to see this change, because this should make that entire industry chain now worth interacting with. The meat also got a price increase. I think it was at like $20 or $30 before. Now it's up to 90 as well, just like the cattle. And since you need one cattle to only get 2 of the meat packages, yeah, it is quite the endeavor, and getting a bit more pay for that is definitely appreciated and seems to make the entire thing much more worthwhile. Everything regarding the gold chain is still the same, so that didn't really get any update, but hey, that has been making a ton of money anyway, so it didn't really need anything in that regard. And yeah, once again, I think these changes make it worthwhile to take the whole payout balancing point off my list, because I think the job that they've done here, while not entirely perfect, is certainly good enough that I can see this issue fixed. In the end, I'm not aiming for perfection, but the update has definitely addressed a few critical problems with how it was dealt with before, and they are now handling it much better, so credit where credit is due. There have been a few other changes with the recent patch for the anniversary update. So that's the one that came out on the testing branch, and to be clear, to some degree that patch was a dud. They talked about things that they addressed that didn't get changed at all, including some of the stuff regarding engines, where they said that some of the parts would be back. But at least for the main release, we now have the red doors back on the climax, even though the windows, for some reason, they still aren't sliding anymore. They still seem to be glued shut. So that's an ongoing issue. But hey, at least the doors are back. So yeah, also the hatch up here. So that's all good, and it seems like the same can be said for other engines as well. The whole thing about the class 70s flex in the front here has been an issue for a while. They even have it in the trailer, if I remember correctly. But yeah, didn't address that. They used to be more dynamic, hanging down if you don't go anywhere, but if your engine is really going, then they would be just fluttering in the wind. Doesn't happen anymore. But yeah, one thing I want to check in particular is the hatch up here. But that has been reapplied, so turns out you can have some good things in this game. And it doesn't all get stolen all the time. But yeah, so much to all of this. Since the video where I actually talk about the patch in depth is going to come out after this one, because that's just part of my regular playthrough and potentially also one of the last episodes. I'm going to quickly talk about the new multi-heading feature. So if you have multiple engines put together, and I'm going to demonstrate it in the video once that comes out, you are going to be able to control all of them while in the F menu, or in the third person view as it is right here. First thing, this is not optional. If you have a multi-heading train and you go into this view, you are always going to take care of all engines. Even if maybe you are playing with a buddy and don't want to do that, then you have to do everything in first person, otherwise reverser, brake and regulator are going to be linked together for all of these engines. The devs also claim that it works if you have another engine connected to your current one in reverse. It's going to then invert the reversers so that if this one is going 100% forward, the other one, where the engine is put the other way around, is going to be 100% in reverse, and therefore they are all going to be moving in the same direction. In my playthrough video, I hope that's something that I recorded. It didn't fully work. I have a very complicated train there where I actually use 4 climaxes. 2 of them in front, one of them, or basically the front 2 are back to back, so one of them is facing the other direction. Then I have 12 cars, used to be like 12 tankers in that situation. And on the other end of that train, I had another 2 climaxes. Again, one facing forward, the other one facing backwards. And if I go into any of the engines, on the other end, one of them would be going the wrong direction. The regulator would all be going, would be all on the same setting. The brake would be working, but the reverser for some of them would be going the wrong direction, and therefore one engine would be pulling against the others, and yeah, that doesn't really work too well. I have no idea if they addressed it, but I thought it would be worthwhile bringing this up here. So yeah, there used to be some issues with that. I'm not entirely sure if they have taken care of it. I haven't done any additional testing since this update came out, but yeah, there definitely used to be some problems at least. And yeah, I think that brings me to the end of this video. And well, what can I say? I think it's cool that they took care of the payout rewards. I think that's a huge step in the right direction. But again, it's kind of disheartening now seeing one of those severe physics issues on the main branch. And with how spotty some of the bug fixing, patching and all of that is with this game, I would have really appreciated if they kept it on the testing branch and just sorted out all of the issues, and then once everything is fixed, take that version onto the main branch. Not have a lot of unsolved issues on the testing branch, then make another whole patch as part of the next update and put it all onto the main branch untested. That's really asking for problems. Thankfully, apart from the things that were already problematic on the testing branch, right now I cannot really tell if there's any additional ones, and I hope there aren't. But yeah. With that all being said, thanks for watching. I hope this was at least somewhat informative. And see you guys next time. There are going to be a few more videos for Railroads Online from my end. Not sure if I'm going to be continuing the series after the current batch is through. I kinda want to, but it's a pain with all the stuff going wrong, so I'm not entirely sure if I'm up for that. And to be clear, the other videos coming out are on the testing version, so they are a bit older, therefore there might be a few more issues that could be fixed right now, especially with constant derailing over crossovers, which is why I'm making this such a big deal, because that definitely killed my enthusiasm for this game a good bit again. But yeah, you're gonna see how those videos turn out. Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed, and see you guys then or with whatever comes next. Till then, have a good one and bye bye.